So now it's my pleasure to invite Sirpa Rautio, Director of the EU Agency for Fundamental Rights, FRA, to the floor.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. It's a real pleasure to be here. Warsaw is my second hometown. I started my career here almost 30 years ago. And of course, it's also capital of rule of law these days due to the fight that the civil society and the justice system have put up in the recent year. So it's also a very symbolic place to be. I will briefly address 3 points, my takeaways. I only had a chance to be here for 1 day. I came from Tirana, where we were supporting the independent people's advocate, the ombudsman, and I'm heading to Budapest. We hope to see a Pride, which is currently banned. Something will happen there, so we will be with FRA colleagues there to make sure that we support the civil society and the LGBTIQ movement in Hungary in very difficult times. But it's been a great day, really inspiring. I thought this would be not very inspiring final session with so many short speeches, but it has been, including some of the gentlemen who have been very poetic. I'm afraid I don't have any poems to cite, but I can make commitments at the end. But definitely there have been many ideas to take back to Fundamental Rights Agency, what can be done, who we can work with, and some new partners as well, which has been interesting, having worked in this field for quite a long time, that you still find new organizations, very impressive ones to work with. It's a real pleasure. It's also been good to be together with others, had some good meetings here, and I also, like many others, feel quite inspired from this energy and commitment despite the challenges we have. So definitely also going back with more energy and more ideas to work with. Then as regards the Warsaw Principles, as like Council of Europe, EU has its own, of course, but I welcome these very clear and good language, short principles that are very useful, and some of them resonate, well, all of them resonate, of course, with the mandate and work of the Fundamental Rights Agency, but especially principle number 1 on checks and balances, separation of powers, accountability, oversight. The number 3, the civic space, ensuring media freedom, civil society engagement, and public participation. And number 10 on partnerships. They resonate very much with what we are doing and what we aspire to do even more. So what can I commit FRA to? Well, first of all, I would like to say that Fundamental Rights Agency, being the independent Fundamental Rights Agency of the EU, I commit to use the full mandate, the regulation that gives our mandate. It is much more broad than just data collection, which FRA is quite well known. And I also commit to do it in full independence. There are pressures, of course, we all feel it, but we are independent. The regulation says we are completely independent, and I will make sure that we will work independently of any pressures. And we will continue to do what we have been doing, but to monitor, to report, to take action. But I commit us to be more outspoken and more robust with what we do, and try to especially ensure compliance with the Fundamental Rights Charter, both EU institutions as well as the national level. Then we will continue, of course, in full transparency to contribute to various processes, including, I think, very importantly, the next EU budget, because a lot of the funding comes from the EU, and there are, again, pressures, some who are trying to get rid of these conditionalities and support for civil society. So we will make sure that we do whatever we can to make sure that the next MFF, the financial framework, will continue to include funding for civil society, civic space, and that we will also work to achieve a strong EU civil society strategy, which is underway by the Commission, as well as the new Democracy Shield, which is also underway. And we will continue to provide data, as we have done for all the various EU processes, as well as other processes with other international organizations. Finally, we will continue to build more partnerships. I've set up a new sector for Fundamental Rights Agency just to focus on partnerships both at the EU and national level, It's still a small beginning, but it will be one of my priorities to make sure that we will explore every possible partnership to strengthen the work on rule of law, fundamental rights, and democracy. Finally, we will of course continue to work with civic space issues, supporting civil society organizations, and we will be working with Norway grants, where we will be getting more opportunities to do more operational work also at those member states that are eligible. And we will continue to work with the Council of Europe and other international organizations. And in fact, I was last week in Strasbourg discussing what more could we do in this situation. So with all these activities, I hope that we can really breathe more oxygen to these 10 Warsaw Principles for the rule of law and commit to work with all of you to have a better future for all of us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sirpa. Thank you for your commitment to safeguard the civic space, protecting fundamental rights, for being more outspoken, which at this time, for working on financing, which we all know that it's a challenge, and for building partnerships.